Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th, 1889, in the small Austrian town of Braunau am Inn, near the German border. He came into the world in a modest home under the roof of a father who was strict, controlling, and often harsh, and a mother who was gentle and deeply devoted to him. His father, Alois Hitler, was a senior customs official in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Having risen through the ranks from illegitimacy and poverty, Alois demanded respect and obedience, not just from the public, but from his children. Adolf, however, resisted him. From a young age, he clashed with his father's demands. He didn't want the stable civil service career his father envisioned. Instead, he was drawn to the world of art, sketching, dreaming, and imagining a future far from bureaucracy. But Alois didn't take kindly to such aspirations, and their relationship was often strained, even violent. His father would beat him regularly, and that fear mixed with resentment left deep marks on the boy's psyche. His mother, Clara, was a very different figure. She was kind, warm, and protective. Adolf adored her. She was the emotional center of his life, the one person who gave him comfort in a household ruled by his father's iron will. Clara doted on her children, but loss was a constant presence in the Hitler family. Several of Adolf's siblings died young. One in particular, his younger brother Edmund, passed away from measles when Adolf was just 10 years old. The grief crushed him. After that, something inside him hardened. He grew quiet, withdrawn, and more rebellious. As a student, Adolf was bright in subjects he cared about, especially history and drawing. But he lacked discipline and quickly grew uninterested in anything outside his passions. His grades slipped, and he eventually dropped out of school at 16, much to his father's disappointment. When Alois died in 1903, Adolf was freed from his father's overbearing presence. But now the future rested squarely on his own shoulders. In 1907, he took a bold step toward his dream and applied to the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna. He was rejected. They told him he had no talent for painting people. A year later, he applied again, rejected once more. The rejection shattered him. That same year, his mother Clara, his last source of love and stability, died of breast cancer. He was 18 years old, alone, grieving, and lost. With no family and no direction, Hitler remained in Vienna. Those years were dark. He lived in shelters and men's hostels, sold hand-painted postcards to survive, and wandered the streets of a city that was at the time a melting pot of ethnic groups and political ideologies. It was there in Vienna's shadows that his ideas began to shift. He consumed books on nationalism, race, German history, and far-right ideology. He blamed his misfortunes not just on fate, but on specific groups: Jews, Marxists, the bourgeois elite. Though anti-Semitism was common in Austria at the time, Hitler adopted it not just as prejudice, but as a worldview. By 1913, with little to show for his years in Vienna, Hitler moved to Munich, Germany, hoping for a fresh start. A year later, World War I broke out. For the first time in his life, he found belonging. He enlisted in the Bavarian army and was sent to fight on the Western Front. The war suited him. He served as a messenger, a dangerous role that earned him medals, including the Iron Cross for bravery. He was wounded twice, once temporarily blinded by mustard gas. But what defined him more than the war itself was its end. In 1918, Germany surrendered. For Hitler, this wasn't just a military loss, it was a betrayal. Like many, he came to believe the lie that Germany had been stabbed in the back by internal enemies: Jews, communists, and corrupt politicians. It wasn't just a defeat to him. It was personal. It was humiliation. That anger would fester and grow. The shy, awkward boy who once dreamed of becoming an artist had been shaped by violence, loss, rejection, and radical ideas. And now, out of the ruins of his youth and the ashes of war, a new identity began to take form, one that would change the world in the most devastating way.